Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to the triple today of 69, issue 70 and also 71 of Build the Terminator.
The Terminator, week by week, built the T-800, the killing machine that defined a generation. Easy to build with high-quality metal components. You can control sound, lights, articulated limbs, and LED eyes, and explore the Terminator universe. Build the Terminator, issue 1, just $1.99.
So welcome back everyone, hope you're well and hope you liked my last video on issue 68 and 69 where we essentially just did the ankle and attached it to the lower leg. So today, exciting stuff, we are finally going on to the toes. Sorry, my bad, I meant 67 and 68, we're now on 69 and 71. So as you can see, we're adding a heel detail and we're also adding the toes. So there's quite a lot to do, to be honest. So there's the toes there as well. But I'm confident it's going to be a lot easier, that's the last issue there, than the fingers like I mentioned the last issue. So hopefully this video is not going to be too long, and then I'm going to stand up with the Terminator at the end and show you a life-size representation of how he looks next to me in terms of height and stature, because he will be fully completed from the aspect of head to toe, literally. So let's get started. Okay, so welcome back, and issue 69 and 70 is laid out in front of you. I haven't laid out 71 because it's basically exactly the same as 70 apart from just pretty much one component, which is some very long grub screws, which we'll get to in a minute. So starting on this side here, so you've got issue 69. We're going to be adding a heel detail and assembling those foot parts, which obviously the toes. So this component here, this is 69.7, this is all plastic and these are foot joint pins, and there are 12 of those with one spare. Then here we have the heel detail, 2 plastic little parts there. Then moving down, so we have our first toe joint, which is metal, and then the first toe, again, is metal. Then you've got 2 little grub screws just down there. You've also got some plastic sleeves and 2 PB times 2mm screws. You've also got 2 of the toes, so obviously one is slightly longer than the other, and they are marked. That's 69 and 60, 69.3, 69.4, and all you need for these 2 issues in general is a crosshead screwdriver and an Allen key, and obviously that Allen key was supplied in a very previous issue, so if you don't have that, you can just get anyone that fits for that. Moving on to issue 70, you'll see here again we've got more toes, more toe joints, also the toes themselves, grub screws, and more of those plastic plastic sleeves. So that's all we need to get started, so let's get cracking. Okay, so steps 1 to 3, the nice easy part. So we're going to start with taking the heel parts. Obviously I've cut them from the metal part here. So what you're going to do, you actually put them either side of the heel here on the ankle. So I'm just going to test them out. They clasp well together. Yep. And then you put one either side and lock them into together. So one needs to thread through, because what we're going to do, we're actually going to secure them with the screw, so it just holds that. So you'll see that I've now put that over there, it's nice and secure. So I'm just going to grab my screwdriver and I'm going to put the screw in there to lock that in. Making sure that cap doesn't come off. Okay, that's nice and secure, so that's that part done, nice and simple. Okay, so for steps 4 to 8, you're going to take component 69.3. Now that's the one that doesn't have anything within the middle. So if you look at the other toe, that has more of a raised part in the middle. So you know which one's which by that aspect. So you're going to take that one, 69.3. Okay, so I forgot to mention, it's actually number 1, not number 7 that it says, but it looks very much like a 7 rather than a 1. So that needs to be facing downwards before you attach the toe joint, and also the larger part of the toe needs to be facing, well, it has to be away, because you're going to connect the joint to the smaller part here on this side. So then you're going to grab, just slot that in like so. You're going to take one of your grub screws and your Allen key, and you are going to secure that together. So just going to screw that in. And make sure that it's not going to be protruding any further beyond that component. So at the moment I've got a little bit of movement. I'm just going to tighten it a little bit more, because obviously I want it to be, you know, fairly secure, but not too much. Because there obviously needs to be some movement, as is an articulated model. Okay, so I've secured that grub to that component there, so that's a smaller toe. Now taking the other one, which is 69.4, and again you want to make sure that that number is facing downwards when you slot that into the toe joint. Also the larger head is facing away. You're going to slide that over the other part of the exposed toe joint like so. So that's now how they're connected, if you can see. Then you're going to take one of your plastic sleeves and you're going to fit that through the hole of this part here. So just going to slide that through. Okay, that's gone in. And then once that's in, you're actually going to take one of your pins, so that's those plastic pins from this part here, and you're going to thread that through. So as you're pushing it through, it will get a lot firmer, but it's still flexible, and that's what you want. So I'm happy with that. That's how that should be looking for the moment. So that's step 8 complete. Okay, so for the final steps of this issue, steps 9 to 10. So very simply, you're going to take component 69.6 and you're going to fit that. So from the whole part here, you're going to fit that through this part here at the end. So I'm just going to slide that through like so. Then you're going to take another one of those plastic sleeves and you're going to thread that through the top to connect those two together. So make sure that's in line. And then the final part, you're going to take another one of your little ribbed pins, and from underneath you're going to push that through the plastic sleeve, and that will lock them all nicely together. And just all I needed there was a little bit of finger strength, not much more, and there we have it. That is the first toe for this issue complete. Okay, so for the first steps 1 to 6, it's exactly the same as I just did in the last issue. So I'm going to film that part and skip to the parts that we haven't actually seen yet. Okay, so I've done the second and third toes, as you can see, and like I said, if you want to actually check how I do those, just go on the last part of the video for issue 69, and it shows you how to do it step by step. Very simple. They're done. Now I can move on to the final issue, which is 71, and this is where we actually do something different. So I'll be filming that part. We're going to make two more toes, the fourth and the fifth. Then I won't film that part because it's pointless because you've already seen it. But I will be showing you when I'm attaching the toes to the foot and obviously bolting them into place. So let's move on to issue 71. Okay, so I've done steps 1 to 5, and that was the toe number 4. Now I told a little white lie. Actually, for step 6, the fifth and final toe, you actually do it the opposite way round. So where this toe part was facing to the end on one side before we're going to the other side, so it's not much different, but yeah, you're just doing it to a different side. So obviously you want to take the toe joint and take the smaller component, which is 71.2, and thread that through like so, and then you're just going to grab your grub screw and you're going to secure that with your Allen key again. Now remember, you obviously keep those toe parts of the numbers facing downwards, so that you don't want to be seeing them facing you as you're securing all these parts together as you've done for the other toes. So just remember that, and obviously, like I said, remember that this one, connecting it all to the joint, is the opposite way round. So the final part, just going to pop on the toe at the end, and remember for that part, with the sleeve you go over the top and the pin comes from underneath. So that's step 6 complete and the final toe finished. Okay, so for the final part and the exciting parts, I've laid out all the toes as you can see. So starting from this side, I've got 1 all the way to number 5. So for this part, what you're going to do, you're going to take a very long grub screw, and what you're going to do, you're actually going to thread that through the ankle, well, the foot here. So, and you're going to thread it through, so one at a time. You'll slide it all the way across, and that will fix in those toes. So obviously you're going to need your Allen key for that, and you start off with toe number 1. So here we have toe 1. What I'm going to do is going to pop that part there, so that's obviously the shorter part of the toe, and that's going to lay flat against that like so, and then I'm going to thread that through onto there. So as I said, I'm going to grab the grub screw, the very long one, and I'm going to thread that through, so that just keeps that part locked in. So I'm not going to tighten it. I'm now going to follow the sequence, and I'm going to go all the way along, obviously finishing on toe number 5, and obviously make sure that you put them in the right sequence, otherwise it's not going to sit how you expect it to. Okay, so for number 3, okay, I've got all the toes in position as you can see, so I'm just tightening up the grub now to make sure that's all nice and snug. Okay, so for the final step, step 9, you're going to actually flip the toes over so they come over themselves like so, and they're going to thread through on the upper part of the foot, and we're going to thread another grub screw through just like we did before on the first part. So I'm just going to line all those toes up, and then I'm going to thread the grub screw through so you can see how it will look, because at the moment it's looking a bit odd, but you'll see in a moment how the foot will come to shape. So looking pretty cool, it's exciting stuff, and I am very happy about how this has turned out, albeit bloody fiddly. That was to be expected with this part, because it was just like it on the hand as well, like I said before, with the fingers. But this has not been nowhere near as bad overall. So for anyone who isn't at this stage yet, whether you're doing the Hachette build or the Agora one, you will find that this is a walk in the park by a long shot. So I'm just going to thread that grub screw through, and then I'm going to feed it through the Allen key, and I think you can see my Terminator's foot coming together nicely. So I'm just going to secure that in, and then I'm going to stand him up, and you can see my work of art. And that is the last grub screw fully secure. So that is that issue complete. So thank you for bearing with me on that one. It was a little bit more tricky than I thought, but in general I'm super happy, as you can tell by my smile. I've done 71 issues now, and I have one side of my Terminator fully complete. So for this I'm going to have to stand up so you can kind of see what we're working with, because he's so tall he's going to be off the screen. So I'm just going to show you first, actually, before I stand up with him, kind of what we're working with here in terms of stature. So you can only see his leg in the image. There is the completed foot, by the way, looking pretty cool. So let's stand him up. I'm going to stand him up, obviously supporting him because he's still very heavy. Excuse my jazzy shorts, but as you can see, he is literally just below my hip. So he's a pretty tall guy, you know. He's not quite got the muscles that I've got on my legs yet, but I mean, he's not doing bad. So that's how he's looking. So I'm pretty impressed, and I'll keep him standing for now, just so you can just see his head there, because why not? So like I said, I've got 3 issues left now, 72, 73 and 74, and we're going to be working on the left side. So the left arm is going to be started. I've seen a few elements of tricep and whatnot, little bits and bobs. Obviously you do remember the arm is pretty long and does take a long time. So I imagine we're going to be working on that for a while before they actually start to send things for the front of the body. So the chest plate, the various springs and whatnot that you would have seen in the Terminator, and how he looks with obviously intricate muscles and blood vessels and arteries and whatnot. But that's pretty exciting. But I've got to say, with the toes they've done a good job. There was nowhere near as much hassle as those fingers, and even now my fingers are still a little bit flimsy and not exactly how I'd want them, but overall they'll do. But anyway, hope you like my videos today. Sorry they're a bit longer than usual for the toe and foot part, but obviously that's a key element and the finishing touch for the first half of the body. So you know, it's taken over a year now, but we're there, and we are closing that finishing line to the end, which I'll be sad about, but also very proud and happy to have my own replica 1 to scale T800. So if you like the video, as always, remember to give us a like, comment and subscribe, and also share to anyone you might think who would enjoy my videos. But until next time guys, I'll see you soon.